I'm Manuel. I'm working at... Please? Thank you all. What? I don't know. The microphone? Oh, okay, it's just for recording? Yes. Okay. So I will try to speak louder. I'm Manuel Vacelet. I'm from NID, and I'm supposed to do this talk with Pascal Rapico. As you can see, there is no Pascal Rapico in the room, so I will try to do the role of Pascal. For those who know Pascal, I will not use as much as strong word as he do usually. Sorry for those who came for that. I'm here to talk about the Agile methodologies and how one Eclipse Project can use better tooling for doing Agile. The sentence I used yesterday to describe this talk is when you only have a hammer as a tool, all problems looks like nails. And when the only tool you have the foundation to do Agile is Bugzilla, you cannot do Agile at all. So just to start, I'm from NID, so NID is the editor of Tuleap, the tool we will talk about for the next couple of minutes. However, there is no commercial relationship between Pascal, who was the lead, is still the lead on the initiative to get a better tooling for Agile at the foundation. Pascal used the Tuleap tools when he was working for Ericsson. Ericsson is one of the big users of Tuleap worldwide. And Pascal and some of his colleagues that were working on other Eclipse projects felt the need of better tooling, and they wanted to push the Tuleap platform at the foundation level. So the base is support of Agile methodologies. What does that mean? It means that we want to do a better tracking of what needs to be done with tools that support the major Agile methodologies like Scrum and Kanban. It also means that we want to have a common place to show the world how we are working in terms of project tracking. It also means that those tools need to be adaptable, because there are a very large usage, potential usage of Agile for the Eclipse project. But as for enterprise, there is small variation of Agile for almost each project. You cannot have one description of what is Scrum, for instance, or what is Kanban, and to apply this for all the projects of one foundation, of one company. So the tooling should adapt to the way you are working. This is one of the key points of choosing a tool like Tuleap. And in the end, the expected benefit is to do a better communication toward the end users regarding the roadmaps and the progress of who is doing what on which part of our projects. So Tuleap, what it is? Who already heard about Tuleap in the room? Oh, great. Our marketing team is doing a good job. So. Tuleap, it's a platform for software engineering. It's also called a forge, for those who know what a forge is. It groups all the features that are needed for software development teams to do all the life cycle of the application, from the capture of the requirements at the beginning of the project to the delivery and the maintenance after the delivery of the project. Actually, I talk about requirement at the beginning of the project, then delivery and maintenance. It's very V-cycle in approach for doing software. We are agnostic. We are agnostic in terms of methodologies. You can. Here, I'm here to speak about Agile, but Tuleap is not at all tied to Agile. You can do V-cycle with Tuleap, and you can use Tuleap for whatever kind of software project you want. It's not tied to Java or C# or PHP or C++. It's designed to welcome all ways of working and all the practices that we actually see in the project. Tuleap is open source. It's under the GPL v2 license. So this is where the legal people start to throw at me tomatoes. I think nobody is from legal there. Anyway, it's 100% open source. All the modules are available in open source. We are not in a model where there is an open core, where the core of the application is useless and you need to buy some proprietary extensions to make usage of the software. You can use 100% of the feature open source. So let's stop talking and start showing some stuff directly. The following is more a demo of what's Tuleap and how it's used already by some of the early adopters of the Tuleap platform at Eclipse Foundation. Okay. I'm good there. So I'm here on the welcome page on my platform. This is a local demo of demo platform. It's not the real Eclipse one, so I can break anything. The concepts are quite common for those kind of tools. There are three main concepts. The first one is the site, so it's quite easy. The second one is the user. So the user, it's me, the small dog there. A user has a personal page. He can customize to get information that are that matters for him. For me, it's my project and a couple of things about the artifacts. I will explain you later what it is. And I can add and move the things around to get something that is tailored to my need. And the third concept that is available in Tuleap is the project. The project, in other tools, you can also find under the name of workspace. It's where the team meets to start doing things together. In a project, you have services that are shown on the left, and the services are customizable project per project. This is a key concept in Tuleap, is that project administrators are the full control of what they are doing inside the project. It means that you can activate or not all the services. You can, even in the configuration in the tool, you can tailor the tools to what you need. If you are using Bugzilla, for instance, if you need to track a very specific element related to your part, your software, your platform or whatever, you have to go to the Bugzilla administrator to modify the whole database to add the things you need to track. With Tuleap, it's completely different. You have the power to add these things locally without impacting the whole platform. I will come at that later. So it's a classic welcome page, but it's not the best. I will show the eGerit example after to have a better show of what's the welcome page. So here we are here to talk about Agile. So I will start with Scrum. Scrum is one of the most known Agile methodology, and it's very. There are 12 big commandments for doing Scrums. But most of the time, in most companies or in most projects, you don't follow all the rules, and you are very often adapting the rules to your team. So it's something to keep in mind that we can do the full Scrum by the book, but most of the time you won't. Despite that, there are some things that are very common. It's the first thing you do the morning when you are in a Scrum team. It's the daily stand-up. The daily stand-up is when the teams gather together to make a quick point of what's going on in the project and what will be done on the current day. So I know this does not really apply for an online development on the open source community when people are not always working all together, but despite that, the card wall, what we have there, is very important even if we are not doing daily stand-up, because it's visual management. It will be easier. So it's visual management. It means that in a quick site, I can have a clear status of what's going on my project. Here, for instance, I know that there are still a couple of things to do for my current sprint. Here I have 5 days to go. But on what is already displayed, most of the things are not yet done. So it's not really critical yet, but it's likely that in 1 or 2 days, things will become hotter, and I will need to go to the product manager saying, oh, we are late, we need to reschedule something. So as expected, you can drag and drop to update the card wall. You can change the remaining efforts. You have automation. If all the things goes to done, all the tasks goes to done, you can automatically update the story, and the story becomes done, etc., etc. Before going to the card wall, you need to feed the team with some stuff to do. This is what is done for the sprint planning. And sprint planning is viewable in the dedicated view, that's the planning view. And in the planning view, you can see all the sprints that are related to a release, and you have the possibility to reschedule the things quite easily. I've said that in the previous example, the team had only 5 days to go to complete all the things, and most the things were not yet done. This is because we probably overcharged the team with too much things to do. The team said that they had a capacity of 10. 10 can be whatever you mean. Most of the time in Agile methodologies, we are using the Fibonacci suite to represent the complexity of doing one thing. One thing that has a complexity of 3 will be twice easier than doing something that has a complexity of 5, and so on and so on. 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, and so on and so on. So here the team said that we have a capacity of 10, and they started with 18 as a capacity, so it's likely that the things won't go well. It's rather easy to move from one sprint to another. We see that we are still with something that won't be met with the next sprint, and we can add sprints or split the stories. Let's say I want to add a new sprint. 3. Okay, 5 days. I can start by adding new user stories. Finish. And then I can start to move the things that are not completed from the big story 13 to the story I just created. It means that in the workflow you might be using, you can either decide to have sprints that are not really tied to a certain amount of time, and until the work is not done, you let the sprint finish. It's not a very good practice in Agile term, but this is something we see often. You can also stick to very strict definition of sprint. It's 5 days or 10 days, and when it's done, it's done. And it means that a story that is not completed will be moved to another one as a finishing story. You have the possibility to adapt the tool the way you want to work. In the same way, you can adapt the columns on the card wall. Here, if you don't want to use review, you can remove the review, remove ongoing. You can adapt that too. I will show it later. So this is the first thing you can do with Tuleap as a Scrum support, but you can also do Kanban. Who heard about Kanban? Okay, less. So quickly, Kanban is a flow-oriented agile methodology. It's very much simple than Scrum in the definition, but it's much harder too if you are not very strict with following the rules. I said that with Scrum you have 12 rules. With Kanban you only have 3. Those 3 rules are viewable there directly. The first one is visual management. Again, you need to see all the things directly in one board. And all the things there, it's the steps that corresponds to your workflow. In your project process, you have several steps that you need to follow for a bug, for a feature, for whatever. You need to modelize as columns the steps you will have to complete an activity. The second rule for Kanban is to track, to measure the time. You need to take one element from one column to another and from the entry to the Kanban to the completion of the activity. And this is how you will calculate your velocity. The velocity of the team will be calculated with how many cards we can move in 1 day, 1 week, or whatever. This is available with small small snippet there. You can have the information of when the card entered in the Kanban and when the card entered in the column. And we can also compute some fancy stuff out of those information. And the third, or maybe the most important rule of Kanban is that you need to constrain your flow. Why to constrain your flow? Because it's much faster to work on fewer elements with many people than to spread the few people availability to many tasks. In other words, we call that context switch. When you are 1 people and you are working on 10 elements, you are much less efficient than if you are working on only 1 element. It's rather simple to understand. And we define that with something that is called the WIP, the work in progress. And there is a warning when the team meets the WIP. It's rather obvious for the things that are ongoing. If you are a team of 3, you can start, for instance, of defining a WIP of 2. So you force people to work together to get the things done rather than having them doing things for long days alone in their own cubicle. But it's also a tool to constrain your product manager, because we can also constrain what enters in to be done. We can constrain it to 3. What does that mean? It means that your product manager have to choose what is really the most important. And if we decided that the WIP for the to-do is 3, if there is a need to add a new element, it means that we need to remove something that is less important. And with this approach, it means that we can have a very precise priority management. And this priority management will lead to better tools because we will really think about the activities that needs to be completed for a given release, for instance. So I said that the configuration is the key. Here we start with a set of 3 columns, but it's by no means the things you will use if you start using a Kanban. within Tuleap, you will start by customize it. For instance, review, we don't use it. I will move it there. So I will remove review. And I will add, for instance, a step to analyze what come from the product manager. And this is the first step. Okay. So you see, in a couple of clicks, I already configured this Kanban that was really generic to my process. And you can do it without having site admin power or whatever. It's really the team that organize the way they are working. Just to give you a better view of how it's already used by Eclipse Project, we have two first-timers. It's Igerit and Trace Compass. Here we are on the tulip.eclipse.org platform, and you can see the welcome page of the Igerit project. So Pascal took a bit of time to configure it, to give insight of what is Igerit. There is a connection with the status of the build from Jenkins, the status of the ongoing work on Igerit. And if I go to the Kanban directly, you can see that it's not at all the columns I shown to you a couple of minutes ago. It's the things that come from Bugzilla, because we took the query that corresponds to Igerit project from Bugzilla, and we imported everything inside Tuleap. So Pascal project got started directly with the real data, and with all the history of the exchange with the people, and all the accounts were created. So the jumpstart was really quick, and the adaptation was really quick too. Now, if Igerit project wants to remove this acceptance or blocked status, they are completely free to organize themselves as they need. I'll switch now to the Trace Compass project, so still on the tulip.eclipse.org platform. So as you can see, Trace Compass decided to not go the Kanban way, but go to the Scrum way. And they are using Tuleap in a very different way I shown to you at the beginning. They are not using at all the card wall. They are not doing sprints, maybe because they are spread in many companies and they cannot really do the sprints. They only organize the releases, and you can find all the backlogs, so all the things that needs to be done. Here they choose to have stories and bugs in their backlog, and you can find the stories and the bug in the various releases of what is planned. So if it ends on June 22, I think it's more or less related to Neon delivery. And you can also see, oh, there is so much thing to do. What was already delivered to the customers with the various sub-releases. But if you go to the sprint planning, there is no sub-milestones. It means that there is no sprints for the Trace Compass project. Okay, I will switch back to the slides to end. Okay. Scrum, Kanban. Whoop. So there is also another platform that is already available at the Eclipse Foundation for the dedicated to the Paralysis projects. It's I no longer remember the URL of the platform, but I think if you are part of the Paralysis group, you already know it. So those projects were there to learn how to use Tuleap and help us to tailor the converter from Bugzilla and to help us to discover the bugs in the data that were imported. So we are now in a state that is really ready to welcome more projects, either just to try, because we know it's a move that can be a bit harsh for projects to move from one platform to another. If you think that Tuleap can be interesting, you can also ask us to do a dry run migration. We can take any Bugzilla query and import it in a pet project, and you can start to play, break the things. It's already available inside or wall welcome to Tuleap package. We are working also very closely with the foundation to have a better integration with the tools of the foundation. One of the key things today is to be integrated with the authentication, the new authentication scheme of the foundation. You may have heard that the people from the IT team are pushing for O2 and OpenID Connect authentication. It's unfortunately still not ready, but we made all the work inside Tuleap to be able to connect to this authentication server as soon as it's ready. For the time being, and it was sponsored by the Paralysis project, by the way. So, thanks to Paralysis. So today, if you want to use tuleap.eclipse.org, you have to create a new account, and later when the OpenID Connect server will be available, you will be able to reconnect your local account to your Eclipse account. And if we are doing Bugzilla migration, your accounts will be automatically created on all the people involved in your tickets. All accounts will be automatically created on your behalf. So what we are doing right now? Right now, we try to create a momentum around Tuleap for the foundation. It started as a need for some specific team that came out of Ericsson and that wanted to use better tooling for Agile, but they felt that more people on more projects at the foundation may have a need for this kind of tool. So if I'm here to speak at EclipseCon France and at EclipseCon North America 2 months ago, it's also to spread the word and to find maybe people that want to help. As of today, it's mainly Pascal and I that organize the things, plus Manuel that helps people to get started. And we are here also to get feedback from you. If you have some needs that are not covered, we are here to collect all this feedback. And we are here also to help you to jumpstart and try and break things on the platform. So that's all for the talk. Thanks to being there. If you have questions, I'm here to answer.